is manuscript evidence. Yeah, that we can find manuscripts that are dated to the time of the quote-unquote founder, although we don't believe the Prophet Muhammad is the founder. So it's dated to the time of the Prophet, and it's located in an objective place in the world. Not a Muslim country, not under Muslims, objective place. And that is in this country.
Yeah, you told me this last time.
I told you last time. Yeah, so that's the manuscript that's in the University of Birmingham. Yeah, dated to the time of the Prophet. Number one, good, done. Number two, it's orally. Yeah, so orally, how has it been produced? Yeah, preserved. And that is through memorization. That Islam is the only, and Muslims are the only ones that make the claim that we memorize the Quran en masse. Approximately, we have 11 million people that have memorized the Quran. You might be thinking, whoa, maybe you're using some Sherlock Holmes mind palace, technique, and you're using all these. No. These are minimum 6-year-old kids that are memorizing the Quran, and that's how the Quran is being preserved. Yeah, in fact, we just finished Ramadan, and in Ramadan, the Quran was recited, and there was a little clip going around of a little kid correcting an imam that was twice his age. So this is I can say something, I'll make a mistake right now, he'd be able to correct me.
Over 1,000 times if there have been 1,000 Ramadans, it has been an ongoing process of engaging with the Quran orally, and it's very powerful. I would
with
say.
regards to books, they were copied. Mistakes came in, then somebody else copied, and then they copied the mistake and they introduced their own mistakes, and like that. That process is called parablepsis and homoutiliton, which is
Chinese whispers.
not Chinese whispers. Those two techniques are, if two lines end with the same word, sometimes when you're really tired, you skip a line because both of them end with the same
word.
Yeah. So because of that, these are only two ways that the Quran has been preserved. Yeah, that we can prove. The third is the chain of narration, but I'll delve into that when I talk about the Prophet, peace be upon him. Yeah, so that's the preservation of the Quran. Number two, you said, okay, with regards to what it mentions in there. Yeah, so when it comes to what's mentioned in there, now the question that you had when we were on the side was, you were saying in terms of science. Now, as Muslims, we don't believe that the science that's mentioned in the Quran is the science, because remember, we've just discussed that science by its nature continuously changes. There was a time where, again, in the Quran it mentions that the earth is moving, it's orbiting, but the scientists and the people at that time said, look at you backwards people, you're saying that that the sun is orbiting? It's not orbiting. However, later we came to know
The sun is orbiting.
Yeah, the sun is in an orbit. Yes, the sun is actually orbiting the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's alongside the planets and the moons and the comets. Yeah, it has its own orbit. So we didn't know that before. So science would say, that's it, that's fine. People at the time of Isaac Newton, they said, that's it. Bernard, I forgot his name over there as well, the one that Dawkins mentions, Bernard something. He's a philosopher, the atheist philosopher that he likes. Probably Bernard something, I don't know. So he
Bernard
says,
Lewis. No, Bernard Lewis is sorry.
Bernard Russell.
Bernard Russell, of course.
Bernard Russell, yeah. So he said, look, we've discovered everything when it comes to science and physics. Time to move on. That's Newtonian physics. Then Einstein came along with his hair parting and his eccentric look, and he brought relativity, and it threw Newtonian physics out of the water. And then now they're saying quantum mechanics is ready to throw Einstein out of the water as well. So the point that I'm trying to say is it's constantly changing. So when we use science, Nick, to measure the Quran, I would say it's unfair. It's unfair. And the reason being it's unfair is because, think about it, if Quran was only filled with facts that you were supposed to find out 1400 years after, what about the people at that time when they don't have electron microscopes, and they don't have Hubble telescopes, and they don't know what redshift is and all this sort of stuff? How are you going to explain to a Bedouin what redshift is? For him, redshift is him and blow direction, that direction. Do you see?
Yeah.
So it's about practicality as well. So when it comes to preservation of the Quran, when it comes to the rationality behind the Quran, it stands head and shoulders above the rest. Now I'm welcoming you to give me a counter to that with regards to what I've said, so we can kind of solidify this.
Well, you said that you couldn't tell Bedouins scientific stuff.
Say that again?
You said with the red sheets,
Yes.
it took an example.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell them
Yes.
like science.
Yeah, you can explain to a 1400. I think I know what point you were going to make, and correct me. I'll try and make it for you, and if I made it, tell me I've made it. If you haven't, say no, I wasn't
can
thinking.
put it into words.
Yeah, no problem, that's fine. So, some people think that whenever the Quran talks about science, it's unambiguous. This is false. Anytime the Quran talks about science, it is ambiguous. Yeah? Why is it ambiguous? So it can be understood by people of all times. It can be understood by people 1400 years ago, a Bedouin in a village, and it can be understood by a scientific professor that's there with with his electron microscope looking into the...
Universally understood.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's a claim to make as Muslims, that this is something that is universal. It's something that is till the end of time, and it's something that is for everybody. So
And we had this conversation early on, not early on, but many times with loads of people who have like problems with the Quran in particular, that when we say ambiguous, they translate it here. That you can many.
yeah, good point. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Not, it doesn't not unclear.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Like some people, and this is where you about the flatness of the earth. This is something that Islam and Christianity, this is where we diverge. Yeah, because Islam doesn't categorically make that statement at all. In fact, one person made the argument about the carpet, but he was using an English translation. If you look at the Arabic word is actually, it's like a spring, yeah? And the word is when you're wrapping a turban around something. Yeah, so it's actually a circular object that goes around. So a lot of people think they rely on the English translation, but English translation is like baggy trousers. Like it's not gonna, it tells you roughly I've got 2 legs, but it doesn't tell me the exact dimension of my legs. Do you see?
I love that.
Yeah? Come on. Come on, though. So, in that sense, some people think that the Quran has errors in it, but it's completely wrong, because they don't understand that this is where the science that emerges from the Quran, which is called usul, yeah? And also tafsir as well. So usul are principles that are derived, and to understand Islam, we learn the usuls and principles. So does this make sense to you, that the Quran is unique in its preservation, in its content, compared to, say, Christianity, whom the New Testament, any educated Christian will not say that it is word for word revealed by God and is preserved?
I would say, yeah, it's the best preserved.
Okay, great. Now let's go to the Prophet now. Yeah. So you've got Guru Nanak, you've got Vishnu, Krishna, you've got Jesus, you've got all sorts of people. Yeah. Let's deal with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Yeah. One way of doing it is evidence. What's the evidence? Well, firstly, where's the grave of Jesus? Where's the grave of Moses? Where's the grave of Prophet Muhammad? Medina. Yeah? Out of all the prophets, the Prophet Muhammad's grave, a Muslim will not only mention where it is, but a Muslim will be able to tell you the color of the dome that's above it. They'll be able to tell you the city. They'll be able to tell you the dynamics. Yeah? It's accepted. Yeah? It's in Medina.
Wasn't Jesus a prophet in Islam?
Oh, yeah. We accept that. But what we're saying is using the same, because you're talking about evidence and skepticism. I'm saying because we accept Jesus because we're told to by the Prophet. Because once we verify that the Quran is correct, God is there, the Prophet Muhammad, etc., then we're told certain things and we accept that solely because of the reliability of the source that it came from. But Christians, they will struggle. They will struggle. Okay? So it's going to be a big problem for them. You were going to say something?
Yeah. Also, the whole skepticism, sort of tracing back where that comes from. Nietzsche talks about genealogies of ideas and tracing them. You see, like skepticism.
He likes Nietzsche.
I can appreciate him too for some stuff he talks about. Although I fully agree with him.
But Nietzsche, he did not like Christianity.
Yeah, he was very staunch.
But he really liked Islam.
Yeah, and I don't fully agree for the reasons why he did, but yeah,
he did, and I can show you. It's in the book Antichrist, his book Antichrist, and I've got screenshots to it, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Because I had a feeling that I might come across somebody like yourself, so I asked Yusuf. I was like, "Look, send me the things," and he went through it. Because Nietzsche was a big fan of Muslims and Muslim rulership. He was unhappy with the Christians. In fact, he didn't even like Christians challenging Islam because he didn't think that they were bringing anything new. Yeah.
But so the skepticism, it's a direct sort of like you're inheriting basically a mode of thinking that has to do with how a religious class in Europe for a very, very long time behaved and in fact misbehaved. And the way they were treating their own scientists, Galileo, Francis Bruno, Renaissance men, were brutalized in the church because they were positive, So like the skepticism comes really from that, and it claims sort of a descent from Greek skepticism, philosophers who were in skepticism. Comes more from a trauma, and I don't think that you should then apply that to every single religious tradition. And this is very famous. If you look at evil Islamic Baghdad, the and the religious class don't agree on everything. But that no one is burning at stake, right? No one is burning at stake, and I think that's where it comes from. So and I always say this to my friends and atheists and Christian, when you approach Islam, you have to leave that to the side for a moment and entertain and criticize or engage with whatever is in front of you, as to go to post-skepticism thing that's born out of the Enlightenment period, which is really pretty much a byproduct of the that comes after. I think it would be very important. It just opens you up, to more possibilities to think and be more elastic with thinking. You mentioned Benjamin Russell and things like that. Or even like Ludwig Feuerbach. They don't even have, and I've heard this before, I find it very interesting, they don't necessarily have a problem with religion. They have a problem with the philosophy of religion. Right? They criticize the philosophy that comes with religion. So not necessarily theology, because Nietzsche talks about Christianity. I'm like, you can't really engaging with theology. You're more engaging with the philosophy. And I think that's sometimes the problem. If you just plain philosophy or theology in Islam and discuss that, I find it very difficult to seem to be very open-minded, and say I find it very difficult to disagree with the things that are in there.
So Nick, we did with Quran. Let's do the same thought experiment. Philosophers love thought experiments. Let's do a thought experiment with the Prophet. What's your criteria for you to accept Hassan is a prophet? Yeah, what criteria would you say?
Well, they have like a large amount of people on the subject and are able to teach effectively.
That's your main criteria, yeah? Okay. So the criteria, so one of the you're seeing a trend now that Islam is the only one solving the issue of preservation. And if that was 2,000 years ago, verify. Can you verify Moses said years ago?
You can't.
How can you verify what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said 1400 years ago?
Because it was preserved.
It was preserved. And I'm
How
going to tell
can
you.
you say what needs
Just a
Yeah?
bit back, yeah.
A bit here, yeah?
Nietzsche, and sorry, and you can carry on.
No, bro.
Nietzsche was forgotten at one point in the European philosophical mind, and there was someone like the name of Kaufman who digs up his archival stuff, because Nietzsche became a philosopher for fascism and the Nazis had.
So,
Those very first believers in Jesus didn't have not have the book of Mark, didn't have the book of Luke, didn't have the book of John, and they put their faith in Jesus.